All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another segment of latest Chelsea news. As you can see, once again, Conor Gallagher's name is the hottest topic in the Chelsea community at the moment. But before we get to this, obviously there's a lot to talk about in regards to Conor Gallagher. But before we get to this particular news, let's talk a little bit about, ladies and gentlemen, Nicolas Jackson. Now, Nicolas Jackson, you would have seen in the last match when we scored, I believe, the second goal. Yeah, the goal that took us to the lead against Crystal Palace, the goal from Conor Gallagher. Off the back of that, Nicolas Jackson obviously couldn't contain his feelings, couldn't contain his emotions, and he was already subbed. He was already in the bench at that time. I think Raheem Sterling came on, and he couldn't contain his excitement. Wanted to join his teammates with the celebration of Conor Gallagher's goal, and he ran into the pitch from being on the bench, ran into the pitch all the way down to the teammates and celebrated. And off the back of that, Nicolas Jackson ended up getting a yellow card. Now, check this out, ladies and gentlemen, from Vince. Jackson now has 9 yellow cards, 1 yellow card away from a 2-game suspension. To make it worse, only 1 of his 9 yellow cards came from committing a foul. Now, we've already seen Nicolas Jackson getting suspended because of picking up too many yellow cards earlier in the season. I think once you pick up 5, you get a 1-match suspension, I believe. And once you pick up 10, well, I think you get 2-game suspension. I could be wrong there. Please correct me in the comment section. But this is the naivety of this squad, I believe. And someone like Nicolas Jackson, who you'd think off the back of the first 5, where he ended up getting a suspension initially, that he would learn from this mistake and that he would be a little bit more cautious. The fact that he's picked up 9 yellow cards and he's only 1 away, and out of the 9 so far, only 1 came because of committing a foul. So the other 8, you're in full control of it. You need to have more self-control about yourself, what you're doing on the field. This is unnecessary. This is a pathetic way to put the team under pressure. Nicolas Jackson at the moment, he's come back from AFCON and he's starting to play, quite regularly again for Chelsea Football Club, starting matches for us, and somewhat has become, I suppose, an important player on that left side. I know we need a little bit more from Nicolas Jackson, and perhaps this is something that we may address in the summer window. But right now, Nicolas Jackson is most likely ahead of Mikel Mudryk and Raheem Sterling on the left side. So him picking up a yellow card, another yellow card, giving himself a 1-match suspension, it could be detrimental. Like, you're going to break up the momentum. He had a very good game against Aston Villa in the FA Cup replay. He had a decent enough second half, much like everyone else against Crystal Palace, where we ended up winning. You don't want to pick up, and you know this is going to happen. He's going to end up getting the 2-match suspension. So 2 matches where we don't seem to have healthy competition on that left side. Someone needs to sit down with this particular brother. There was no need for you to just sprint down and celebrate with your teammates. You could have gone around the field. Why did you have to go straight through? Like, these are things that we definitely need to clamp down on, ladies and gentlemen. This naivety, this foolery needs to stop, man. You're going to put the team under immense pressure if you pick up a yellow card against Manchester City up next and get yourself suspended for 2 games the following, the games after. One of them could be the Carabao Cup final, where you'd think someone like Nicolas Jackson is probably a shoo-in to start. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts about Nicolas Jackson. This, for me, is complete foolery. Now, next up, ladies and gentlemen, Conor Gallagher news. Lots to talk about in regards to Conor Gallagher. Obviously, this talk about Conor Gallagher will not go away until a contract has been signed, a contract extension has been signed. Until then, there's going to be a whole heap of conversations in regards to Conor Gallagher. Now, Tottenham Hotspurs are to make a move for Conor Gallagher at the end of the season if the midfielder has still not agreed a new contract with Chelsea, coming from Matt Law. Further goes on to say, the expectation remains that Chelsea will make Conor Gallagher some sort of a contract offer to extend his deal, but an agreement is still far from certain. And A little bit of quote coming from Pochettino via Fabrizio Romano. Gallagher told me he wants to stay at Chelsea. Other than that, it's for him and the club to discuss. We like him. I'm so happy for him and so happy for the team because it's a victory we needed. Then about his contract, it's up to Conor and the club. So look, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very sticky situation. In one hand, you're starting to feel maybe, just maybe, Pochettino is utilizing Conor Gallagher as well properly up front, and Conor Gallagher is repaying back with goals. Look, I've been very critical about Conor Gallagher, what he does in midfield. The way we were deploying him was a little bit deeper, where he needed to be a lot more technical with the ball. The last couple of games, especially the Aston Villa game and the second half against Crystal Palace, he's been playing further up, crashing the box, and his finishing has been stupendous. So I've always said Conor Gallagher has some level of, I suppose, participation in the Chelsea squad. It's not like he's a complete package. He's Chelsea through and through. There's no doubts about that. He loves the football club. He grew up over here. But I feel like, the way the board, and I also agree to a certain degree, that he's not irreplaceable. There are players that you can find for, in the similar mold of Conor Gallagher that does similar things as well. So that aside, I've got no issues with Conor Gallagher potentially being a squad player, someone who can start, someone who can contribute in a big way. Off the ball, we all know what Conor Gallagher can do, and now if he can add those goals, I think he will slowly become someone that, for the doubters like myself, to start thinking that he probably needs to start. Like the upcoming match against Manchester City, that is the correct type of an opposition where you'd want Conor Gallagher to play, where the opposition will have a lot of the ball. Conor Gallagher's off the ball work rate will be immense, and if he can keep crashing into the box the way he has been, against Crystal Palace, and he scored a goal against, I believe, against Aston Villa as well, then that trait might come in handy against Manchester City. So I think he's a shoo-in to start against Manchester City. But I also understand from the board's point of view, the ownership point of view, in regards to making sure you balance the books in financial fair play, Conor Gallagher is going to fetch quite a bit of money, and he will help with the pure profit to balance the books. Now, few people are saying with 1 year left in his contract, he may not fetch as much as what we expected, or as much as what we got, last year, January, we got, I think, Everton giving us 40 million. But what may happen here is, I think Chelsea might come into a bit of a conclusion that, let's provide him a contract extension, and then we'll reassess the situation down the track if someone is keen to purchase him. At the end of the day, the contract extension, don't get it wrong or twisted that, it's because Chelsea believe in him. Chelsea could also give the contract extension to secure his value. It all comes down to Conor Gallagher, whether he really thinks Chelsea want him, or Chelsea are basically using him to get a bigger transfer fee. And the other thing about the contract extension for Chelsea is Conor Gallagher will have to accept his wages. Do you know what I mean? His proposed wages. And the word at the moment, as you saw Matt Law talking about over here, that I think I saw somewhere, maybe Matt Law is not talking over here, but I did see that even though his value might be reducing in terms of the contract, that's the term that's left, but his wage demand is probably increasing. Now, Conor Gallagher is going to feel that, he's probably capable of earning somewhere around 150K per week. So look, ladies and gentlemen, the way I look at it is, I still think Conor Gallagher is going to be sold in the summer. I still feel that if you're going to play the spot that he's playing right now, he's going to have to bag a lot of goals for me to start considering that he needs to stick around. As I said, as a squad player, I've got no issues. I think he's good value as a squad player, but overall, depending on what level of wages he's going to want, is he going to accept any contract extension from Chelsea? Because I don't think Chelsea board will probably offer him anywhere near 150K. They may perhaps give him somewhere around 110, 120K, and that might be a little bit disrespectful for Conor Gallagher. So, look, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts about this situation. I still think he's probably on the way out. Whether it is Spurs that he goes to, we shall see. I don't think someone like Conor Gallagher, who's spent all his life at Chelsea Football Club, he knows the rivalry. But at the end of the day, you've got to do what is best for your career, I suppose. So if Spurs come up with a particular offer that is too tantalizing, you may even see him go to Spurs. So ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts in regards to Conor Gallagher's situation. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, Chelsea plan for Pape, Daouda, Diong, time to train with the first squad at Cobham in the next months, and then expected to join Strasbourg for next season. Final decision, formal steps to follow around May, June. So this brother at the moment is training at Chelsea. I think he's going to be training with the players in the development squad. I don't think he's really going to be training with I know there's been recent picture with him where Thiago Silva's just behind him. So maybe he's getting a flavor from the first team, but I think predominantly he might be training with the development squad. And the idea is for him to go to Strasbourg. Look, excited to see how he develops, excited to see what he's able to do at Strasbourg. At the same time, I don't know how much Strasbourg will be appreciating all of this, because Strasbourg fan base are also very, very annoyed with Blues Co. And, they're also getting fed up with the influx of all of these youngsters in their team, because they feel that with young kids, it's very difficult to compete. And it's not like they're competing in Liga to win the Liga. It's more about survival, or see if you can make yourself into Champions League position or even Europa League position. So very difficult to do all that with kids. But let's see how his progress goes. From the clips that I've seen so far, he does look like a robust midfielder, box-to-box midfielder. Very keen to see how he develops in Strasbourg next season. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, check this out. Very, very interesting news. Comments that's coming from Petr Cech. Recently, he's done a podcast with John Obi Mikel. Do check that out. I need to actually check that out as well. This is what Petr Cech had to say, not in that particular podcast, but recently he said that to Sky. I miss my work, but I don't have regrets. After such a significant change, I was too worried that I'd always be comparing what has been done to what might happen in the future. I had a gut feeling that I was not in the right position, so I left. He told that to Sky. So we've always sort of had this feeling. What happened with Petr Cech? Did he leave on his own accord, or was he just let go of? So it looks like Todd Bowley and Iqbali wanted Petr Cech to stick around, but Petr Cech seems like just didn't feel right to stay around, and he left. And look, this particular quote from Petr Cech, there's many different ways to interpret it. Now, the one way I'm looking at it is, it looks like he was worried. Looks like he was worried where the new ownership was going to go, what the situation might be for Chelsea, and he would have felt really, really shattered knowing where Chelsea once was and to where Chelsea is right now. So his worry, his feeling of being scared about the situation has come to fruition. This is what has happened. Us fans, we keep comparing what it was under Roman Abramovich and what it is under the new ownership. So this is probably one of the reasons why he didn't want to stick around. Like, he just didn't want to see Chelsea go down the drain, which is what has happened. Look, I wish the owners, I don't know how much convincing they did, but I wish they were able to convince him to stay, because I think having someone like Petr Cech around, if he's still stuck around, I just get this feeling maybe we wouldn't be in such a mess that we're in. Maybe he'd be able to tell the owners that, look, best to get some level of experience in the team to balance up the whole squad, as opposed to just go completely youth. But you never know. You never know. Maybe he felt, some sort of an inkling that that's the direction that the new owners wanted to go, that more youthful project. And that's something that maybe Petr Cech just couldn't get on board with, and that in itself would have been a bit of an issue. So I wanted to end that with that particular thought. Let me know what you think about Petr Cech's comments. But most importantly, let me know your thoughts about Nicolas Jackson, Conor Gallagher in the comment section. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Smash the like button. If you're here for the first time, subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. I shall see you guys for a live stream tomorrow, early morning UK time. Until then, everyone, take care and see ya.